so Peter, this is workout B on your template. What we'll do is we'll start off with these squats, or what I've got, what I've referred to on your template as a suitcase deadlift. And what we had you do is basically it's a box squat is really what it is, meaning that we have you sitting down and standing on the box. And again, what I think works best for your knee is to have you kind of take the load off. They're kind of like disconnect the circuit essentially, with your knee when you come on down. So the box that we used was this guy, and this is roughly around 23 inches in height. So like roughly around the height of a breakfast bar stool, it should work. What we're going to do, Peter, is again just going to find your stance, right? Find that comfortable stance, and literally, you just sit and stand on the box, right? Coming on down. And again, I think what we found for you is you don't necessarily have to pick the feet all the way up, but just letting yourself come all the way down and reset seems to be probably the best bet. Again, just to take some of that pressure off your knee. You can kind of pick up the heels a little bit here, especially if you find that it bothers your knee. Right, inhaling down. Right. So we used the 15s when we were doing this together. What you can play with is the different, that you can vary up the height to find what feels best for you. It may feel okay to go for a little bit, something a little bit, like a chair with maybe a cushion on it. That may work as well. Again, just find something that's pain-free, right? That doesn't bother your knee. All right. So Peter, moving on. We're also on this day. We're going to pair this with your incline dumbbell chest press. And again, the incline, just like your flat dumbbell chest press, right? The idea is we want to create structure, right? So, right, we're going to press to the floor. We're pressing to the floor so that we can arch the back comfortably, right? Again, arch the back to a tolerable position so you get the shoulder blades nice and flush against the bench, right? So we can keep that shoulder joint nice and squared up, right, when we go to press. Big breath in. Lowering only down just as far as feels right for you, and really roughly around 90 degrees, right at that elbow joint. It's about as far as you need to go, Peter. You don't necessarily need to go all the way down, and that tends to cause the shoulder joint to roll a little bit forward. So inhaling down, roughly around 90 degrees at that elbow joint. Exhale, pressing up. And again, we had you with your presses, we're varying it up a little bit. Feel free to, if you want a little bit of variety, maybe go for sets of like 8 to 10. And then the next time you do it, go for sets of like 12 to 15, just to kind of give you a little bit of variety. The weights that you used when we were together is you used the 25s for I think 10 to 12, if I'm not mistaken. And then you end up using the 30s, and it bothered your shoulder with the 30s the last time we did this together. Let's see here. Yeah. So you did 25s for sets of 10, and then you did 30 for a set of 8, and it bothered your shoulder. So you may want to kind of look at like 20s for 10 to 15, or 12 to 15, and then maybe 25s for 8 to 10, at least just to start off with. All right, Peter, let's move you on. From here, we're going to do that TRX High Row. This is a little bit different than the low row, just in the sense of where your arms are and shoulders are positioned. Let me see if I can set this up well so you can see me properly. So Peter, same idea, right? We're gonna take the handles, right? We're gonna start off with handles roughly at chest height. We're gonna extend, adjust your feet. Again, you're pressing the feet strong to the floor. We're squeezing the glutes. We're lifting through the sternum. Nice big inhale. Exhale, pull, and remember, this is that one, I'm pretty sure we had your palms facing each other, but your elbows nice and high versus the low row where the shoulders are backing down, the elbows are in. This is where the elbows are going to stay a little lifted. Again, we're working more of that mid to upper back and the back of the shoulders. So again, almost imagine like you're pulling the chest through. Now you can play with the elevation of the elbows or how far the arms are out, right? To find what feels best for your shoulder. Too far high, too far up, right? And it may start to bother your shoulder. So again, find what feels right for you. Again, it's like you're pulling the chest through. All right, Peter, the next thing we're going to do is we have your TRX lunge to a pad. Basically, this is your lunge, right? And what we had to do was we used a pad. You can use a pillow or like a cushion at home. And this is this guy. We took the TRX. And again, to the extent that feels okay on your knee, right, we're just going to come on down. And just drive up and back. Inhale down. Drive through that front heel as you go up and back. The hands are just there for a little bit of support, right? As you get really, as you feel solid with this and it doesn't bother your knee, right? You can kind of use as little as possible, and you can really use more force driving off that front heel. The next thing that we're going to do, Peter, is your bicep curl. And again, feel free. I mean, I've just got this on your template. You can really do any bicep curl that you want. Please don't feel limited to what I've placed on your template. You can do your dumbbells any way that you want. Again, you can get away with, the cool thing about bicep curls is you can really challenge yourself and you can lift some relatively heavy weight, not necessarily putting your body at a whole lot of risk. The only thing you want to just watch out for is too much forward or anterior glide of that humerus, humeral head, right, as you go into your curl. So again, if you're using dumbbells, right, just try to make sure that you can watch the elbow. If the elbow goes back, right, then that humeral head is kind of driving forward, and that just can create a lot of tension in the front of that joint capsule, which is kind of, there's limited space in there. So again, right, but feel free to challenge yourself. Again, this is something that you can really challenge yourself on, which you can gain a lot of benefit from really pushing it, again, to the extent that feels good, and generate a lot of tension, which can help stimulate muscle growth, right, and just overall the benefits of strength training and working out. But if you want to use the TRX, the one that we have you do is, again, the setup is the same as your row, except for here we're going to go, palms are going to face up. And think elbows in and up as you bring your pinky knuckles towards your cheeks, right? So elbows in and up as we bring our pinky knuckles towards the cheeks. And really what we want is, notice if you look at my upper arm, you want that parallel with the straps, right? So my upper arm and the straps are parallel, and that's just going to ensure I'm getting a little bit more bicep. Again, same thing as always, right? Slight tug in the pelvis, core is nice and engaged, chest is nice and lifted, right? And again, we want to keep those TRX straps tight, like as tar strings the entire time. So you're keeping the tension on the muscle. All right, Peter, the last one we're going to do in this series is, let me just see. Okay, so we also, I'm not sure if we did this, but I've got you programmed in for a dumbbell lateral raise. Now you want to go real light with these, and again, honestly, Peter, I'm not sure if we even did these when we were together. But having a little bit of medial, right, or outside shoulder work, I'm sure you've done some variation of these. You want these to be pretty light. So again, you can go lateral raises, right? Or the other thing that we can play with here is dumbbell scapsules, where we're just extending those thumbs up and out and just slow on every turn. All right, so again, either medial, deltoid, or lateral raises, right? Or we go what's called a dumbbell scapsule, just think thumbs up. Again, you want this to be pretty light. And one of the things that I like to play with when I'm doing these kind of exercises is do like single leg, or like kickstand that back toe to challenge the balance a little bit as well. Again, super, super light, and just think slow on that way down, so you have to, channel this or absorb it in your core. Peter, the last exercise in this series is that fallout that we do in your warm-up. And what you can play with is maybe walking a little bit further forward walk a little further back with your feet to make this more challenging on your core. So again, we're going to handles, interlace the thumbs, right? And this is what band's gonna be directly over the head. You don't have to do this, but I'm gonna walk a little bit further back than I do with the warm-up variation, because I'm not really necessarily warming up my shoulder. What I wanna do is challenge my core. Here, we're gonna tuck the tailbone, get that core nice and engaged, tuck the tailbone, engage the core, right? Press through the floor. We're gonna roll out, and then come back. Exhale, roll out. Actually, I think with this I may reverse your breathing. Inhale out. Exhale back. Again, you're in control of the intensity. And here, you don't want to necessarily, like you do with your warm-up, where we're kind of stretching out the shoulder a little bit, you don't want to necessarily go that far. You don't want to put your shoulder in a vulnerable position. It's really more about keeping the, imagine like you're moving a plank. You're just trying to challenge your ability to maintain that plank position, moving to a fairly short range of motion. But as soon as the tension comes off, you're inhaling, going right back into it. Again, you're in control of the intensity by how far you walk forward. And if you need to, you're right, you can always bring the hands. You can even separate the hands here. I would be a little careful with that. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. Just watch the shoulder on those. Peter, I hope this is helpful. Please, as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll see you soon.